Okay, so just checked out Knock at the Cabin, right? The latest M. Night Shyamalan film. He, well, the writing situation is, right? It was the first draft was written by Steve Desmond and Michael Sherman, and Shyamalan then wrote the final draft. It is based on a book, The Cabin at the End of the World, by Paul Tremblay. The film is produced by Shyamalan, along with Ashwin Rajan and Mark Beinstock. It's executive produced by Ashley Fox, Christos V. Konstankopoulos, and Stephen Schneider. It is co-produced by Andreas Zorpanos Kritikos, Jeff Robinson, uh, Herdis Stefanotier did the music, Jarin Balashki and Lowell A. Meyer cinematography, Nomi Katharina Priswork was on editing duties. Douglas Ibel handled the casting. Production design is Naaman Marshall. Art direction is Dave Keelong. While Karen Frick, Joe Skudniski, and Gino Deli Coyoli set decoration. Carolyn Duncan was costume design. And our cast. Well, Dave Bautista is Leonard. We've got Nikki Amuka-Bird as Sabrina, Robert Grint as Redmond, Abby Quinn is Adrian. Then there's Jonathan Groff as Eric, Ben Aldridge is Andrew, and their daughter Wen is played by Christine Cui. Andrew's mother is played by McKenna Kerrigan. His dad is played by Ian Merrill Peaks. Denise Nakano is a TV newscaster. Got Billy Vargas as a Scientologist. Rose Laudero is a PWTC spokeswoman. Yeah, I mean, there's people in the news and things like that, but I think that's probably our main group of people, I would say. You know, so the gist of the film is this. It's a film about a tight-knit family who are taken hostage by four armed strangers while vacationing at a remote cabin. The visitors, led by Leonard, demand that the young girl and her parents make an unthinkable choice to save their family or save humanity. I mean, that's weird wording. It's not so much of a demand, it's an ask, right? They're asking a question. And the hostage situation, again, it's a little gray area. But yeah, I don't know. Like, this film, it's interesting, I would say, right? The idea, you know, of four people coming to the house and posing this, I think it's like an impossible question. It's horrendous, however you want to cut it, right? Just because what would have to be done, and then living with that thing, right? That's the big thing about the question. And so it's just like, oh, how would people cope with this? What's the reactions? So that's the kind of big sticking point here. Now it opens up very anonymously, right? Because we've got when playing, collecting, fireflies and crickets and the like, and then a guy comes over to her, right? Leonard, Dave Bautista. And he's huge, right? Huge tattooed arms. And he's just like, I want to be your friend. And so you just think, oh, what kind of pedo bullshit is this? I do not want to see a child get molested. Just no. No, 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 no. That's what you would think, because it's such a weird, creepy kind of setup. But that's not what happens. Do not worry, people. We do not have to see that shit, right? But you're kind of off guard from that. And then he's like, oh, my friends are coming. We need to kind of hurry this up, right? So everything seems a little imposing. You're kind of like, what is this? What's happening here? How is this going down? And so, it then kind of spirals, right? And we get these flashbacks of Andrew and Eric, of them basically, we see them on dates, we see them deciding to adopt when, which, I mean, the whole adoption thing was a little, because I am kind of tired of white people adopting kids from other parts of the world, right? Just go through the process, adopt a kid, you know what I mean, from your own country, right? Like, god damn it. You know what I mean? I don't think we needed that, but we see that. But I think the big thing is when we see them arriving at the cabin and just all of this, and they say, oh, we stick together, right? But I feel just saying a thing doesn't make it so, right? Because in a lot of the literature about the film, it's like it's a tight-knit family, right? It's a tight-knit, but you're just like, I mean, if they didn't say it, would we honestly think it? That is one of the big, would we honestly, like, I think you can see that one of them is loving and caring. The other one, I mean, a little angry, right? A little angry. So you're, you're looking at all of this, and it's just a bit. There's as I said, the setup, the question, it's interesting, but I didn't feel that the conclusion was really hard to figure out. Like you knew where it was going, right? You knew exactly how we were going to get there. But some of the hesitance to doing that, right? This is a hate crime and just all of those things. It's just like, but there's no evidence of this thing, right? There's no, and even the supposed hate crime that is mentioned and shown, it's like, was it right? Was it? Now, there was a crime committed for sure, but they're in a pub, right? In a pub bar, and people get drunk, right? And people say and act in just off-key ways. And a lot of times it's not because of anything other than that person is just drunk, right? Is just drunk and angry at their life. But there was nothing said that made it indicate that it was anything other than a drunk person being a drunk person. Which, here's the thing, don't get me wrong, that's not saying it was right, but I'm just saying that we didn't see anything to make us believe it's a hate crime. Right, so that's the big one of the flashbacks that we see. And then, the comments made that, oh, they're being persecuted, it's a hate it's just like, but there's no evidence of, right? And a lot of the, the comments and the rationale for leaning in a different direction, it doesn't actually hold up, right? And I think the what's it called? The attempts to justify, right? And calling out what is going on is just like, no, right? You can poke holes in everything, and yeah, like no one's going, well, it's not because of this, right? Or, well, everything is taped, right? Everything is pre-recorded. You know what I mean? Like, I just wasn't convinced by everything in the middle. I just thought a lot of that stuff was a bit thin. It was just a bit like, it felt like, I don't know, that this probably needed to be, like, I don't know, a 5, 6 something part TV series to actually let it breathe a bit more, right? To look into each of the 4 guests and maybe why they're chosen, or their importance to the convincing of the family. Because, yeah, what we have is just a bit, like, the acting is fine. Like Dave Bautista, I thought, to get our guests, right? So I thought Bautista, I thought Amuka-Bird, Quinn, really good. They were really good, and I thought they showed the vulnerabilities of their characters, the soul of their characters. Rupert Grint, he was okay, but a bit like Andrew, just a bit shouty, right? So instead of getting character, we're just getting some being loud. I did think that Eric, Groff's character, you see more of those different sides with him. So I thought that was good. Kristen Cui, she's not bad as Wen. It's a little kid, so there's not a whole lot of crazy things happening on that emotional scale, but it's a solid performance. So yeah, it's, I don't know, like, it's fine, but I just think the promise from the initial kind of question just becomes a little bit meh, a little bit mediocre and bland when you were just hoping for this really rich, crazy, psychological piece that's exploring all of these different themes, right? That's what you're hoping for. But it just kind of sits on are people homophobic? But without anything to back it up, right? Which is a real shame. Because even if you were like, yes, these people are homo, like, let's see the you know what I mean, why, the reasons, what's going on, but we just don't get it. It did just not enough for me with this story. Now, I would say if you're a fan of Shyamalan stuff, like, I probably would say I preferred Old, though Old does get crazy, like the end of Old, and there's some other bits in Old that you're just like, wait, what? But I thought there was a little bit more there. But I think if you really liked Old, you might really like Knock at the Cabin. So I think it's all a matter of how you find Shyamalan's films, right? That's a thing. How do you find those? Because I think that's how you're going to receive this one. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's now out on all digital platforms. I watch it on Now TV, but it's on Amazon, it's on iTunes, Apple, YouTube, all of them ones there. So if you haven't seen it and you're a big Shyamalan fan, you may very well really dig Knock at the Cabin. I just thought it was standard, but hey, I'm very up and down on Shyamalan's films, so there is that as well. You know what I mean? But yeah, just my thoughts, baby. Just my thoughts.